One second. Here, see Minneapolis. All right, today I want to talk about hey, this is Joshua, and this is the daily video blog, mistake series, episode 8. Today I want to talk about an idea that I try to keep in mind as often as is possible, and it comes from a Jason Fried essay that was on the Signal versus Noise blog a few years ago. And that idea was practice like you play. It was something that was ingrained in him, I believe, from a coach who basically didn't tolerate slacking off, laziness, not giving it your all at practice. And that his motto was practice like you play, like put all the pressure on yourself during the practice to be excellent and at the top of your game, so that when you are in the game, you're operating actually at a normal level, not an elevated level. Or if anything, you're operating at a level that is that is maybe above everybody else around you. And for me, that was really powerful, because I am very guilty of a certain type of thinking, and I think I've talked about this in the series already, which is I have a real tendency to put off dealing with a situation in my life that needs to be dealt with, or even something that I like doing, but I'll put it off in this kind of mathematical equation where I say, once I have or have done X, then I will deal with Y. So it could be, once I have a full-time job, then I will get more involved in my kids' education, let's say. Or once I don't have a full-time job and am supporting myself via freelance work, then I will be more involved in my kids' education. I mean, it can kind of go both ways. Or like another one is, once, for me, it was always the same stupid thing, which is highly irritating. Once my studio is profitable and like operating at like a functioning level, then I will start going to the gym or whatever that is. Ultimately, whenever you say that, once I have or have done X, then I will deal with Y scenario, it's always a matter of it's always some kind of procrastination that's kicking in. It doesn't what am I trying to think? There's sort of no way around the fact that what's happening there is that you're looking for an excuse not to do the thing that needs doing. I know for me that's totally true, and I know that whenever I hear anyone talk that way, you almost know that they're talking about something that they realize is important, but they're choosing not to handle it. Now, how this kind of manifests itself, like how does this fit into making a mistake or whatever? I mean, it's pretty simple. You end up not researching, learning, acting upon things that need to be done because you're doing this other thing that you've defined as being more important. But I think the problem is that you're totally pretending. You're not taking real action. You don't have a real intent to handle the thing, and you're looking for sorry, I'm a little bit hot. You're looking for like a suitable reason not to do that, an excuse that you can kind of delude yourself into the idea that it's okay for me not to handle this because I'm doing this other thing that is way more important. And I've sort of seen, like, if instead I come down to reality and I say, okay, this thing I want to do, like I need to eat better. If I instead like place myself in reality and try to figure out how to work around my current life in order to do that, in some ways that thing that I need to do is easier than I thought. So if I sit here with like a spreadsheet of my schedule, and look at it and go like, okay, what are the things that I like absolutely need to do every week? Like, and at what times am I completely blocked up and I have no time to say exercise? And then how much time do I realistically have? And secondly, is that really going to be my priority? And to stop sort of deluding myself into like, okay, once I have this thing, then I'm going to exercise, because that's clearly not the case. Like, at some point, I would start exercising, and I have yet to do that. Actually, that's not true. So instead, if I go, okay, here's my life. Here's some things I do that aren't that important, and here's this thing I really want to do. How can I actually bring that into my life? And it's like, I didn't start working out. I just passed a stupid rule for myself, that I would do 25 push-ups every time I go to the bathroom. And this is like what I do. So like actually it started out as much less than that, because I couldn't do 25 push-ups every time I went to the bathroom. But it's literally like I would duck into a conference room, and it started out as like 8. It would end up being 8 4 or 5 times a day, because I could only do it at work, because if I do it at home, the kids are jumping on my back. And today that's up to 25 push-ups every time. And while I would still like to sort of work out, I've stopped saying to myself, oh, once I have this situation sorted out, then I'm going to start working out, because the fact of the matter is that's really not going to happen. But what I do notice is more likely is that from doing the push-ups, you start to see some changes, and once you start to see some, they're not nearly as dramatic or pronounced as you'd like them to be. Big bunch of a big train coming through. So then it ends up being what could I do? Like, now all of a sudden I'm hungrier to do the thing. Like now that I've seen some changes, I actually do want to go to the gym for real. Something I never wanted to do before. So but it was like, it took coming down to reality and to stop sort of pretending like, oh, once I feel like I'm on a precarious cliff and I'm probably going to die. I think I won't go any further. Here we go. So once I sort of got serious about finding a way to do the thing I wanted to do in a way that was legit and realistic, then all of a sudden it sort of built up the impulse. Like, I'm no longer sitting around pretending, okay, once I get used to having a full-time job, then I'll sign up for a gym membership in a place that's within a couple block radius, because I'm terrible at that. It's not going to happen. So instead, it's like, instead of like pie in the sky sort of dreaming and this kind of fantasy making, I just looked at the realities of what was going on in my day-to-day and looked at like, what could I do that might make a difference? And it's like, I've always been a scrawny dude, so push-ups seemed like they would make sense. Maybe if I was like trying to do something else, I would go up and down the stairs, whatever, for a minute 4 times a day or something. Like every couple hours, like hop out in the hallway and go up and down the stairs. But stop deluding myself into thinking I'm going to do things that I'm not going to do, and instead find realistic things that I can do. And I think, like, there's a lot of criticism of, say, getting on a budget. Like, I need to get on a budget, or once I pay off this credit card, then I'm going to get on a budget, when like the more realistic thing to do is just to be like, I'm terrible at this, I'm just going to save $3 a week. I realize like $3 a week is a laughable amount, but if you put that $3, like, say, in a clear plastic box, and you watch that add up week after week, you'd start to put $4 and $5 and $6 in, and all of a sudden, at some point, you would start being a person who actually saved money, instead of a person who's desperately trying to convince themselves that they'll be responsible at some point. So, God, that ended up being a long video, but I hope it's helpful and interesting. This is something like I have to wrestle with all the time. It's very easy for me to convince myself that that there is something I want to do, write another book or whatever, that magically every condition in my life will come together to do that, and instead that I need to operate from the point that I'm at and figure out how to make it work within that context. All right, cool. Thanks for watching.